Let's talk menopause. Menopause is an important milestone in a woman's life. And this series on menopause is meant to create awareness about menopause, understanding the physiology and how to deal with the issues of menopause. Welcome to our yet another episode of Let's Talk Menopause. We are in the 5th episode of Let's Talk Menopause, and this episode we are specifically talking about a topic which has got a lot of myth around it, which has got a lot of fear around it, which has got a lot of anxiety around it, and I think this topic is something called as a hormone replacement therapy. Dr. Vikram, I would like to, as a woman, I would like to ask you is, in India especially, I will not talk about the European or the Western scenario, but in India, I would like to tell you that the moment you talk about hormone replacement therapy, there is a big no-no, or there is a lot of fear, and a lot of eyebrows are raised, Why are you wanting this hormone replacement therapy? Why are you doing it? Are you crazy? There's so much of your chances of breast cancer or an endometrial cancer. So why let it be natural. You do your yoga or you do your exercises, a little bit of lifestyle changes. But today I want you to dispel all these myths, specifically which is around this hormone replacement therapy and what kind of good it can do to a woman's body.
Thank you, Babita. Again, thank you for putting these sessions together, because I think it will be very useful for women who may not have been offered HRT or have serious concerns about HRT. So HRT simply means you're giving back 3 hormones: estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. And all these 3 hormones which are used are natural hormones in the modern HRT. The problem with HRT was that around 2002-2003, there were a couple of big studies which were published. These were Western studies, one from the UK, one from the US. And these included thousands or millions of women. And these studies said that if you use HRT for long term, 10 years or more, you have an increased risk of breast cancer, increased risk of heart disease, increased risk of stroke. The problem was that these studies had issues with their methodology. So the women who were part of these studies had already had significant medical problems, and they are not like women that we give HRT now. So if you have
I'll interrupt you here. Doctor, I will interrupt you here. All this that you're talking about is, we were talking about tablet form or the oral form of HRT, right?
So you're absolutely right in pointing that out. So these studies were done in women who already had medical issues. They were into their 60s and 70s. The kind of hormones which were used in those studies were actually not natural hormones. They were synthetic hormones, and they were usually given as a pill form, a tablet form. We don't do this anymore. Modern HRT includes only natural, something we call as body identical hormones, which means these are exact copies of hormones which our ovaries make. Then they are given in the form of a patch or a gel or an implant in a non-oral route. So if your woman is above 60 and between 50 to 60 for many, it will be given as a patch or a gel on the skin rather than swallowing it as a tablet. And all that makes this HRT very safe, very effective as compared to what was done 20 years ago. So there are lots of myths which still circulate, not just in India or Asia, even in the Western world. Still, there are health professionals, there are public who are worried about HRT when they should not be so worried, which is why the awareness is really very important.
When the HRT can be of such great help to a woman with these newer ways, why in India there is so much of a kind of even simple things like unavailability of these hormones, So is it that the entire pharma industry or the entire medical industry is so they have their minds closed? I'm not trying to demean anybody, but we are only preventing women from achieving good health. That's it, because I think a lot of harm has been done by not giving them the advantage of this HRT.
I completely agree. I think it took 20 years in the Western world to realize that we were not doing justice to women. We had prevented women from getting access to something that could transform their life and make them lead a healthier life after menopause. And I think it will take that much number of years or that much time, even for that sort of revolution to happen in India and in many other countries or many other parts of the world. It is just that the medical fraternity, healthcare professionals have to learn more about it, become themselves more aware about what is HRT, what is the current concept of HRT, why has it been associated with some problems in the past and it's not the same now. Once the health professionals become more confident with prescribing it, you will find that more and more women will get access to HRT. It is just a matter of time, but I think healthcare professionals need to get themselves updated with the latest with HRT.
Okay, so what are the different modalities of this HRT that are available to women today?
So just before I go there, I'll say not everyone needs HRT. There will be some women who don't get very severe symptoms of menopause. They have very healthy bones, very healthy heart, and they may be able to manage without HRT. But there'll be a large number of women who will have very severe symptoms. They will be at risk of osteopenia, losing their bone density. They will be at risk of heart disease or brain cognitive decline. Those women are likely to benefit a lot from hormone replacement. So hormone replacement, as I said, has three hormones: estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. If you have had your womb removed, you had an operation called hysterectomy, you only need estrogen, testosterone. You don't need to take the progesterone. Estrogen is the key hormone. It will improve your symptoms a lot, so you will have a better quality of life. It will take away all the menopausal symptoms, which we described in the last video. It will make sure your mood is stable. Your functioning will improve. Your bone, heart, brain will be protected, because if you take HRT between 45 to 60, you have benefits for all these health systems and you reduce incidence of disease affecting bone, heart, or brain. Sexual health is equally important. So many women find that their libido drops. They're not able to have intercourse because of vaginal pain, vaginal dryness, bladder issues. All that will significantly improve, and that's part of improving your overall quality of life. So all those aspects are the beneficial aspects of HRT just with estrogen. If you look at the testosterone, that is another equally important hormone. It's often thought that testosterone is a male hormone. It's not true. Women produce more testosterone than estrogen before menopause. So testosterone is a key hormone which also gets lost with menopause. So if you give it back, you have advantages in terms of your libido, your sexual life, your energy, how you feel, your mood, your brain function. There are significant effects of testosterone which we see in clinical practice. At the moment, the licensing with testosterone remains only for libido, but in future you will find that it has many other applications as well. The progesterone, the third hormone, is only required if you still have your uterus, because if you take estrogen and testosterone, the progesterone will help with protecting the lining of the womb or the uterus lining, which is a part of the HRT to make it balanced. If you've had a hysterectomy, you don't need to take the progesterone. So those are the three key hormones and how they impact your general health as well as your symptoms. So that between 50 to 70 to 80 to 90, the longer you live, the more likely you're going to get healthy body tissues and no symptoms of menopause.
I think that's a great news, doctor. But what are the options as far as these? First, you said you do have some gels and some dermal patches, right? So can you speak a bit about that?
So there are various ways of taking these hormones. You can get tablets of estrogen, tablets of progesterone. You can get patches which you wear on the skin, which you can stick to the skin twice a week. Again, estrogen, progesterone, both are available. You have gels of estrogen and testosterone, which you can combine with the progesterone tablet. You can also have progesterone in the form of a Mirena coil, which can be inserted into the uterus. You can also have some tiny implants, which you can put under the skin so that you don't have to take any patches or gels or tablets. If you're only troubled by vaginal dryness and bladder issue, that's local symptoms, and you don't have any other symptom, you can only take tiny vaginal tablets of estrogen or vaginal cream of estrogen. That is equally effective for those symptoms, other than taking a systemic HRT. The advantage with the newer routes of HRT, which is the patches or gels or implants, is that they don't cause any risk of blood clotting, which happens with the oral tablets of HRT. So oral tablets of HRT are very good for younger women, like the women who have premature menopause or have early menopause. They can definitely opt for oral tablets. Women who are into their 60s or getting to 60s, it's best to avoid the oral route, because if you take it as a patch or a gel, then you don't have any increased risk of blood clotting or stroke. That's the important bit. And similarly, if you take vaginal estrogen for vaginal pain or dryness, it does not go into the rest of your body significantly. So it's very safe to take it as long as you're using the vaginal estrogen, and you don't have to take any progesterone with it.
Doctor, another thing is, in case if a woman chooses, or like she is advised to go on this HRT, what would be the kind of a follow-up, medical follow-up that she needs to do, once she starts on this HRT?
So just before I go through that in terms of what would be the follow-up or monitoring of HRT, just a couple of concepts there. One is the side effects of HRT and the risks of HRT. And because that will then mean what we monitor once somebody starts on HRT. So right now, there are some minor side effects that a woman will experience when she starts HRT. And those are the 4 common things: some sort of irregular bleeding. Second is headaches. Third is a bit of nausea. And fourth is sometimes a bit of bloating and a bit of redness of skin wherever you put the patch or the gel. Now, those 4 are usually the common side effects, which will only last for the first couple of months, after which the side effects will go away. So you can safely be on HRT in the long term without any minor side effect. The major risk that we talk about are 2: risk of blood clotting and risk of breast cancer. The risk of blood clotting is not there if you avoid oral tablets. So you can not have to worry about it if you're using a patch or a gel formulation of HRT. It's only if you're taking oral tablet and you're 60 and above, that's when the risk of blood clotting can be there. Risk of breast cancer does exist. So for any woman who is taking HRT after the age of 50, for 10 years, 15 years or longer, there is a small increased risk of breast cancer, but that comes from the progesterone. So women who take estrogen and progesterone together, we call as combined hormone replacement. The progesterone in it, that's the one that's linked to slight increase in risk of breast cancer. That risk is very, very tiny. So often when people say, oh, HRT causes breast cancer, that's not true. That risk is just an association and it's really tiny. You have far higher risk of breast cancer from, say, things like overweight, obesity, or being overweight gives you much more risk of breast cancer, or not exercising increases your risk of breast cancer much more than actually the HRT. Many women take the contraceptive pill when they are young. That gives the same level of risk, but nobody talks about risk of breast cancer with combined pill or taking contraceptive pill. Almost everybody uses it. It's the same with HRT, but when it's HRT, there's a taboo. So you say HRT causes breast cancer. No, the association is similar. And so for most women, the benefits of symptoms, bone, brain, heart are so many, they easily outweigh that small increased risk of breast cancer. So what monitoring do we do? The only monitoring we recommend is if you still have your uterus, you should have your cervical smears every 5 years. And then if you every 3 or 4 years, you should try to get a mammogram done. Again, that's not because HRT causes cancer. It is just a method of monitoring to pick up if there are any breast changes early in the stage. That's it. Other than that, there's nothing specific required to monitor HRT.
I think that's a great news. As a woman, that's really very heartening that we have these options today. But doctor, can I say one thing is the availability, like especially in India, in a setup, even if though the fraction that can even afford it or who want to take, it's really a very difficult situation, you know, to acquire or to procure this. Now, I think that's something which you and I can't help. It's the pharma industry, or it is, I mean, if the doctors demand, then I think it will be you know, available. But I think let us keep all these options open, and as you've rightly said, that maybe as it has taken a lot of time for the West to wake up to the concept of HRT, I think probably we'll also go a long way to wake up to the concept of HRT. But till then, you know, I think the idea of having this episode or this talk, and this, it is basically to drive a woman to the thought process that if she has any such major symptoms, there are options available like hormone replacement therapy. And unlike what it was in the yesteryears, today we have medical sciences have gone way ahead, and the very good options are available wherein a woman can maintain her normal bony mass. You know, she can maintain her good cognitive senses or cognitive behavior or cognitive functions, and also her heart, you know, like the cholesterol, the fat metabolism, all this can be, you know, like controlled, and it gives a wonderful quality of life to a woman. And I think even in cases of premenopause or early menopause that we just talked in our 4th episode, I think these women should really look at these options rather than just allowing yourself to suffer, and by listening to the myth that has been, you know, like built around this hormone replacement therapy. I think so. We are only opening up this topic or this awareness, you know, so that more and more women across the globe, across India, are aware of this, you know, and can probably reach out to her doctor, you know, and demand that, okay, I've heard this and I need to know more about it, and I need to know about my options. I think that is very important because today's woman is a working woman. She needs to be in good health. She needs to be on her toes all the time, and I think she needs to be as healthy as anybody else, you know, for till she lives, and I think we deserve that, don't we, Dr. Vikram? So I think yeah, I think Dr. Vikram will stop at this, and it's been a wonderful, really a wonderful session with you in creating all these 5 episodes of Let's Talk Menopause, because somehow there's a lot of kind of a barrier or a wall, you know, like where people are not talking about menopause. Thank you so much for all this, Dr. Vikram, and from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of all the women who are listening to this, thank you so much for your time and for your expertise. Thank you so much.